I'm about to present a video to you about why I like the committee of the whole structure. I'm not making this video to change the minds of everybody who already has their mind made up. I'm never gonna do that. But there's a message and a lesson here, in my opinion, that's bigger than this committee of the whole conversations and rules of order. It's not just the committee of the whole structure. And it's how conversation develops when it comes to politics. In general, though, I don't think it should come as a shock to anybody who knows me. I don't know how to explain this, but if you know me, I get obsessed with all the details. I'm a person who heavily loves context. That's because it creates one big picture and it matters. So of course, if there's a chance that we can create a structure where everybody in that room gets to be together because it's created that way, not just the old system where people could go to committees but their votes weren't counted if they weren't part of that committee, that's what I'm gonna pick. And something that I didn't say in the video that I want to express now is this is for rules of order for this term and this council. I think it's going to be really good for this group. Maybe I wouldn't feel that way if there were different people in the room. Some people are concerned about the majority that will take over. I think this committee of the whole structure is going to give us multiple opportunities for different majorities, and it's not going to be based off of party affiliation. No, I'm not saying it's going to be perfect, but I also don't think it's fair to say that it's corrupt and not transparent and is doomed to fail, because that's not a given at all either. So I think just in general, in politics, we got to talk things out more. I really like this council. I'm really excited to see where it goes now that we're all going to be part of all the committees now as one committee. Again, that's nothing too new, but it's definitely different than if the rules of order went back to how it was with the past 7 committees. I like this structure. Nobody made me vote for it. I also think it can be made better. I'm not even saying all of this to defend it like it's going to be amazing. We don't know yet. At this point, nothing about this is all bad or all good. And that's been causing me to not weigh in on the conversation yet, but I see things getting just kind of ignited in these thoughts and these concerns. So where I can make people feel better by providing context, and maybe I don't even make you feel better, whether you love me or hate me, at least now you'll know why. And that's part of this. Sometimes we'll agree and sometimes we won't, but there are more sides to the conversation normally than what meets the eye. As most of you may know, it's my first week on the Common Council, so I just wanted to bring some clarity to some votes that happened this week, because a lot of the things I'm hearing out in the public, not even by my constituents, but that I'm hearing, from either other people on the council or Facebook or whatever, it just sounds like there's a lot of confusion. So Monday, there was an organizational meeting. Every council who comes together for the first time, a new term, they get to decide what their rules of order will be. Now that is strictly for us and what works best for us. 2 pieces of legislation were brought. One was rules of order to go back to how things were before the last term, and they were like that for a very long time. Now the other rules of order was something that I also was part of in proposing, and that was to make a structure called Committee of the Whole. So Committee of the Whole means everybody will be on one committee. Before, we used to have like 7 different committees. Public Works, Recreation, Public Safety, Codes, Finance, Economic Development, Government Relations, and they divided the council up into all of these. So the goal is that everybody gets some sort of expertise, and that's their field. Now, I'll tell you why I don't care for that on a local level. On a larger level, though, I totally understand. So let's give you some context. Congress has 435 representatives, right? So they have 20 standing committees. You need to divide up the work with 435 people. That makes sense. I understand when you have that many people in a room, that can be really hard to get through anything really and to focus on one piece, especially when there's so many committees. Now, when we talk about the Common Council on a local level, most of our committees had 4 people to the committee. So in my mind, it's what's adding 5 more? We can have conversations with 9 people in a room, and in fact we do, because that's what the Common Council literally is. Now, as somebody who was elected, I want to be able to represent my people the best I can in every aspect of our city government. So let's just be clear that if at any point we feel like this isn't working best, we can amend anything we want. It's a beautiful system. When we're talking about Public Works, Recreation, Public Safety, Codes, Finance, Economic Development, Government Relations, I'm just reading off our city's normal committees. I feel like it's all cohesive. I feel like it's actually all the same conversation. How are you going to be talking about public safety without finance in mind? That's just how I think. I even made this little chart. It's probably going to be backwards on the screen. I'll try to do something about that. But 1st through 5th Ward, we are all Democratic representatives. North Utica, 6th Ward, you have a Republican rep. 2 out of the 3 at-larges are also Republican. But this means on Monday when we voted, The 3 Republicans wanted to go back to the old ways. The 6 Democrats wanted to create this new structure where it's committee of the whole, where everybody's in on the conversation. In the old committee structure, everybody was still allowed to attend committees. That was always a given. But here's the thing. I'm a single mom, I'm a business owner. I don't have time to hit up 7 different committee meetings that are going to be all over the place all sorts of times. One committee meeting together, that is so powerful for my district that I get to be present in those. And I think it's also going to be really helpful for constituents who also want to be a part of the conversation. Now it's just going to be a lot more streamlined of a process. And that's something I'm actually really passionate about, is that I want to make our government accessible to all sorts of people. We need to be mindful of when these meetings are and who can get there. Now, my next point is actually very much in favor of the minority party. That is because we have 7 different committees. They're split up amongst everybody. But what we saw in 2018 is, I highlighted the Republicans, and again, this is probably backwards, but you can still see this blank space. Basically, codes had no Republican representatives on that committee at all. Don't Republicans deserve a say on that committee too? We were all elected to be in that room. We should all have a say on these, because it's not that many committees. And it can't be about title, and it can't be about credit. It just has to be what's going to be best for the people, because I can't think of anything better than being in an open room conversation with all of my colleagues who are also voted in to be there. You know, if we're going to have experts on committees, that knowledge and wisdom is still going to come with them, and that's awesome. That doesn't just stop because their name is no longer on a sheet of paper in one category. It's going to keep going, and it's going to benefit that entire room. It's going to make us all better representatives for Uticans. Just how I see it. Again, if there are issues, we can amend it. So on Monday, I knew what I wanted to vote it on, but emotions were through the roof over what we presented, and I was very confused. At one point, I paused and I said, I didn't handle with either of these rules of order ever. I feel lost because I felt like the emotions did not match the concerns of what could possibly come from the legislation. There are so many nuances to this and so many different scenarios and ways this can play out. I wanted to try to simplify the conversation because I've seen a lot of Facebook posts and a lot of interviews, and I haven't been able to engage in that conversation yet. When I see things on Facebook of concerns that those of us who voted for this committee of the whole structure sold our souls to the devil for something in return, I just need to tell you, I did not vote for this because I wanted to be second chair for contract and supply. I just didn't. I've heard a lot of people label this as corrupt, being against transparency and accountability. And for me, I can't think of anything more transparent and impactful for the people that everybody who was elected has a seat at all of these committees. And that goes for all of my Republican colleagues. I don't care if you're in the minority of the council. It's like, I want you in all of these conversations. We're going to do better work together. That's the goal. Hopefully this is a great system. 6 of us apparently think we're going to work better this way, and I hope the other 3 do too. If you have any more questions, hit up katieforutica.com. I hope this helps explain my side of things, and that's it.